morning, everyone. Welcome to the AIBPM Talks, the international webinar. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the AIBPM Talks, the international webinar entitled Strategic Financial Management, held by AIBPM and Universitas Negeri Malang. AIBPM Talks is a program where researchers are supported to present their research results virtually. This program is initiated to enable researchers to collaborate and share their knowledge and expertise. I'm Aulia Zardina, the Master of Ceremony for today's webinar. We are all grateful that amidst the pandemic, we gather here to listen to the keynote speakers and panelists who will be imparting their insights about strategic financial management. And here we will be having a presentation session followed by a discussion. Today, here with us are the 3 keynote speakers, moderator, and 5 panelists. Let me introduce you to the keynote speakers first. We have Professor Majdi Anwar Quttainah from Kuwait University. Hello, Professor. We have Mr. Adi Hu from Universiti Sains, Malaysia. We have Dr. Ranu Jain from Sydenham Institute of Management Studies, Research and Entrepreneurship Education. To hold this discussion, good morning. Glad to know that your connection is much more stable for now. Okay, to hold this special discussion, everyone, we have the moderator who is ready to lead the discussion today. He is Dr. Avijit Bakshi from the CMS Business School, Jain, deemed to be University. We will get back to you, Dr. Avijit Bakshi, because we need to greet our panelists here. And for the panelists, we have Dr. Rajesh Kumar Nair from the SIES College of Management Studies, India. Hello, Dr. Rajesh. We have Professor Abu Bakar Abdul Hamid from Putra Business School, Malaysia. And we have Dr. Gede Satia Utama from Universitas Airlangga. We also have Dr. Irfan Hussain Khan from Government College University, Faisalabad. And last but not
good morning.
Hello, good morning, sir. And last but not least, we have Dr. Puji Handayati from Universitas Negeri Malang. I would like to inform you that the e-certificate will be ready 7 days after this webinar, and the hard copy is available with requests and small contributions. The link of it will be shared at the end of the webinar. Next, I would like to invite you to listen to the Indonesian national anthem, Indonesia Raya, before we start the webinar. Okay, now we are going to have the Vice Dean of Faculty of Economics, Universitas Negeri Malang, to deliver his welcome remark. I would like to invite Dr. Agus Hermawan to deliver his speech. Please, sir. Hello, Dr. Agus.
Yes.
Okay.
Can you hear? Okay, thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Everybody, welcome at webinar. This is the third webinar, national webinar. We have part of a house here at the Faculty of Economics and Business, State University of Malang. We are located in East Java, Indonesia. As you know, that this is the part of East Java, State University of Malang. Actually, we have the university have about 34,000 students, and the Faculty of Economics, one of the 8 faculty or the Faculty of the Economics. We have students about 53,000. I appreciate for your coming, especially for the speakers, panelists, and also of course for the moderator also. Welcome to honorable speakers, Mr. Eddie Hu from University Sains Malaysia, Dr. Ranu Jain from Sydenham Institute of Management Studies, Research and Entrepreneurship Education, and also Professor Majdi Anwar Quttainah from Kuwait University. And also for honorable panelists and moderator, Dr. Rajesh Kumar Nair, College of Management Study, Professor Bakar Abdul Hamid from Putra Business School Malaysia, and also my neighbors here, University of Airlangga, Dr. Gede Satria Utama, and Irfan Hussein Khan from Government College, University Faisalabad, and also my colleague here, my dear colleague Uji Handayati from State University of Malang atau Universitas Negeri Malang, and also for Avijit Bakshi, sorry, my pronunciation may be wrong here, KMS Business School, and also for the committee, actually I get name here, Mr. Lim from AIBPM representative, as well as the participant who attended this seminar. Once again, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning. As representing the Dean of Faculty Economy Universitas Negeri Malang, I am very proud to be a part of the discussion at the implementation of the international webinar with the topic Strategic Financial Today, 25th August 2020. As we know that currently Indonesia and also I think all of the world is the people right now has entered to the industrial era 4.0, indicated by increasing the number of facilities, activities available of using digital technology. According to data from Indonesian Ministry of Industry, we are quite capable in implementing Industry 4.0. As the academician and practitioners in the field of the accounting, we need to keep up the flow of this development, giving the knowledge of accounting to our students in expanding. The development of accounting right now is very influential in the life of the current industry era, especially regarding financial management, of course, the topic of our discussion today. By knowing the latest issue regarding financial management, I think that we can be enhancing the role finance in the future. Among accounting students, also among our position as a lecturer, to provide our knowledge to our students. I think this topic is very important for improvement of our capabilities and also our knowledge in the digital era. Therefore, I think that the holding of the international webinar, financial management, will certainly be able to fulfill the knowledge need in finance for generation, not just in Indonesia today, but for the world. We thank you to IEBPM speakers, panelists, moderators, and also sponsor of committees who have organized this event. We are very happy. Welcome to all of you. Hopefully this event can be fruitfully and also running well today. And we can also to meet again, I hope next time in the future, to make a collaboration maybe, to make our research together. Thank you for your participation at this webinar. May God bless us through this seminar. By saying Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, I open this
আরে
seminar.
মা আসে না বাড়িতে বললো তো নিজে বাড়িতে
Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Agus. Okay, next we're going to take some pictures of us before we start the discussion. Thus, we need you all to turn on your cameras, so the crew will be helping us to take us some pictures. Miss Ati, should we start now?
Okay, we gotta start. Okay, good morning. Everyone, please turn your camera on and I will take the picture of each page, and we have 7 pages, so I will start with the first page. Okay, page 1. Page 2. Okay, everyone, please turn your camera on. Okay, page 3. Now page 4.
Next, we are going to enter the main session, everyone. But before that, let me briefly introduce you to Dr. Avijit Bakshi today. Dr. Avijit Bakshi has completed his PhD from Kalyani University, West Bengal in 2011. He has been into research for around 11 years in several states such as West Bengal, Gujarat, and New Delhi. He had worked in some organizations before joined the academic field. He was a part of the Center for Monitoring Indian Economy and financial consultancy companies as well. He has been focused on financial risk management in banks, corporate finance, and financial market. And he is currently guiding some PhD students. Hello, Dr. Avijit Bakshi, are you ready for this?
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
We have around 2 hours for the presentation and discussion, and you'll be the one who conduct it. The time is yours.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Avijit Bakshi from CMS Business School, Jain University, India. So I am the moderator of the 2 days webinar. So I will be conducting the presentation and the discussion session. The webinar will last for approximately 2 hours. The schedule of today's webinar is each keynote speaker's presentation will continue for 20 minutes. I'd request to all the keynote speakers to finish their presentation by these 20 minutes only, because we have a time constraint, time limitation is there. And followed by the question and answer session that will be max to max, it will continue for the 60 minutes. So before we start the presentation, I would like to inform you the rules of the webinar. All the panelists and the participants will be muted during the presentation. There will be question and answer session after the keynote speaker finished his presentation. For panelists and the participants, please click the raise hand button if you have anything to ask or suggest to the keynote speaker. The moderator has the authority to choose who will deliver the question for the suggestion. All the participants, panelists, moderator, and the keynote speaker will get an e-certificate that will be distributed maximum 7 days after the webinar. If you have not received the certificate within 7 days, please send us an inquiry to email aibpm.conference@gmail.com. Now, as we know that we are passing through an unprecedented this pandemic situation, whole world we are battling against this pandemic situation. Now, today's the topic of the webinar, that is strategic financial management, is very apt. Now, I received some question from that panelist also regarding that how to confront with this situation. So we are anxiously waiting for all this presentation from the keynote speakers, and would like to know something about how to, since we are passing through this unprecedented situation, so the business and the commerce at a large world over, they are battling also. They are under stress, financially stress condition. So how to battle this, how to come over from this financial distress, and what is the way out? So we are anxiously waiting for the keynote speakers to hear about something on the strategical point of view in time of this pandemic situation. So how to battle, is there any way out, how to way out from this situation? For the business, for the industry, for the commercial houses, for the banks, financial institutions, for the any institution. So now let's start this session, the presentations of our keynote speaker. So our first keynote speaker, Professor Majdi Anwar Quttainah from Kuwait University. A brief introduction about Professor Majdi. He is an associate professor of management in the College of Business Administration at Kuwait University and works on consultation and training project as a freelancer. His research and teaching interest are corporate governance, 3 levels of strategies, especially that corporate strategy, international management and business entrepreneurship and small business and organizational change and development. In addition, as recognition to research, he was awarded the Best Young Researchers Academic Year 2016-17 Kuwait University. Professor Majdi, the time is yours.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I will try to be concise as much as I can. And we'll take it from there. Let's see. I have to share my screen. Okay, again, good morning. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to share with you whatever I have already compiled and gathered with regards to strategies for companies during a crisis or during the COVID-19 pandemic. So let me start first. How to plan your company's future during the pandemic? This question has been answered several times. However, I will try to answer it from a different perspective. First of all, let me say that the most successful companies during the COVID-19 pandemic is those companies who were able to move or gradually shift from normal business transaction into digitalization. And before I start explaining what digitalization is and the importance of digitalization, we need to take some concepts into consideration. First of all, we need to know what digitalization is, which is the conversion of analog to digital. And it is somehow different from digitalization, which is anything that could be viewed or accessed electronically using electronic equipment. And the difference between the digitalization and digitized is basically the data. So how the data to impact how work gets done. It's basically the transformation from analog to digital. And then the automation. Automation is basically using information technology to take on a repetitive process and tasks. Now, what is the difference between digitalization and technology? Okay. And most importantly, why when we start investigating the factors that allowed companies to become successful during the pandemic, especially that in certain countries or in most of the countries, we had either a total lockdown or a partial lockdown, and basically companies were not able to function properly, especially employees or laborers were unable to reach from A to Z in order to go to their works. The mere concentration of my analysis is basically to understand the companies from within three different scopes. First of all, have the companies moved into digitalization? Have they become digital during or prior to the COVID-19 or not? According to the data, companies who moved or were in the process of the transformation into digitalization were the ones who became successful during this pandemic. And the reasons are different. And the most important ones that you can always work from any different location, virtually from your home or from any other locations. But most importantly, when we need to even look at how companies start their strategies, we should understand and we should know that there are three levels of strategies. That is the corporate level strategy, the business level strategy, and the functional level strategies. All of them are equally important, and what could even boost achieving the corporate level strategy is our understanding of what sort of design the organization usually adopt. What do I mean by design? Is basically when we talk about the design, we are talking about what sort of structure the company adopt. Not the structure, whether it's vertical or horizontal. No, I'm not talking about this. I am talking about a specific design. Is the company following a rigid design? We refer to it as the mechanistic design, or is it following the organic or the learning design? The difference between both of them is that the mechanistic design is rigid. There is no delegation of authority. Usually authority is centralized. There is no window for learning. Everyone will need to work as a machine. And most importantly, in this specific design, the organization usually is a large organization. Specifically could be manufacturing organization, and because of that, it is usually after efficiency rather than effectiveness. And efficiency because they don't need to waste any time, money, or resources. Whereas when we need to compare companies that adopt the organic or the learning design, we will ought to see that there is a delegation of authority, there is no centralization, and it gives us as employees, management, laborers, the opportunity to learn. Why? Because it helps everyone within the organization to become creative. This is what it caters for. And because of that, it is very successful to adopt this when your organization is small to medium enterprise or organization. And most importantly, it allows for horizontal integration or horizontal coordination. And this is really important. Why? Because most departments will be able to coordinate and cooperate with each other. And this is the focal point of the presentation. When my organization is after successful implementation of a sudden, because this approach, when we start talking about the organization design, we are talking about a proactive approach. Whereas for the mechanistic, it's usually reactive, because you just cannot stop operation and start thinking about how to proact. It's usually you need to stop every single process of the production in order to be able to react. And this type of approach usually takes a lot of time, and it could have very negative consequences. Now, when we start applying our understanding of the organization, we should understand that there is important factors that usually needs to be taken into consideration with our strategies and for the design. That we need to understand that there are two equally important factors for our design, which is the dimensions of the organization. There is the contextual and there is the structural. In order to have a very successful strategies, we need to understand that what are the positive or the negative factors that could influence the organization, whether in terms of strategies, in terms of being proactive or reactive. Of course, when we talk about the structure, we are talking about the the internality of the organization, which is the formalization of the organization, the specialization, hierarchy of the authority, centralization, and professionalism. And when we need to talk about or to analyze the contextual, of course, we are going to be talking about the organization size, technology, is it up to date, the environment. Some could ask me, what do you mean by the environment? Is it the internal or the external? It could be both, but most importantly, it will be looking at or focusing on the external environment and what sort of effects it will have on the organization. And of course, we need to take into consideration the goals, the strategies, and the missions of the organization. And having all of these four elements or components of the contextual dimension is the organization culture. Is the culture helpful in coordination, in terms of learning, in terms of extending whatever needs to be extended in terms of liaising the authority for the employees or the management to make the decisions or not. And here we can start, for example, understanding what sort of strategies that should be done. I'm talking about the organic strategies. Now, of course, each organization must have its strategic intent. And the strategic intent is basically what are the most important elements in terms of the mission, the competitive advantage, and the core competence we need in order to achieve our operational goals. So the mission is basically what? They are the statements. What is it exactly we are having in terms of missions that will enable us to achieve our vision. We can talk about the human capital, we can talk about what sort of expertise we have, what sort of overall targeted not only clients, stakeholders we have that will make our vision achievable. And of course, what is the thing that makes us unique or special in order to be able to achieve our competitive advantage. Now, when we have all of this, we need to have the operational goals or the operative goals, which is the performance, the resources, the market. But yet, when we start talking about these elements, we need to take into consideration an important factor, which is how are our goals or the importance of the goals. Okay? As we said earlier, that we need to have a clear vision statement. We need to have a very realistic corporate level strategy. And from the corporate level strategy, of course, the executive management will have its share of it, and it is the business level strategy. How are we going to be able to interpret the corporate level strategies into short terms and medium terms goals that will enable the executive management to achieve the overall corporate level strategies. And then when we talk about during the pandemic, what happened, for example, if we take into consideration the existing COVID-19, the most successful companies during COVID-19 were the companies who were successfully transformed into digitalization. And when we take a closer look, if we are talking about a learning organization or the organic design, we can say that Google is one of the companies who has been adopting the organic design pre and during the pandemic 19. And we could also notice that not only from their financial statements, but even from their day-to-day operation and communication with their customers. They did not even miss one day of responding or corresponding with their either stakeholders or their customers. However, when we need to look at a mechanistic design, and they were somehow successful as well, as McDonald's. They use mechanistic approach. They operate locally, regionally, and internationally, and some people, especially students, asked me, how come you always promote for organic design and it is the best during any crisis? However, when we look at McDonald's, they were somehow successful. They as an organization are successful or were successful during the pandemic 19 is not only because they were adopting the mechanistic approach. No, because mainly those who are used to have the junk food or to order online, they were much more willing to order online rather than walking or going to the restaurant and receive their order or pick up their order. And one element helped the organization, McDonald's, in achieving not only efficient but effective approach in terms of employee satisfaction, shareholder satisfaction, and the clients were their escalation of products and services. Wherever you go, anywhere in the world, whenever you enter or call or even order online, They use the same technique and the same approach. They will not deviate, except of course for their menu. When you go from a continent to another, you would tend to find additional meals that would satisfy the traditions or the dishes of the country. Now, when we need to talk about another organization, we can talk about Amazon. Amazon, the beauty of that company is that it is adopting two different designs at the same time. They are adopting the mechanistic approach and the organic approach. How they are doing that? They are doing the mechanistic approach when we are talking about the centralization. Basically, everything is centralized. No one has the authority to make any concession or to try to add service or exclude anything without having the vertical approval, which is the chief executive officer or the chair of the board. And when they started liaising in the middle management. How? They started allowing for different not only Amazon products or Amazon items were sold, they were using different vendors within their system in order to forfeit for any delays or shortage in their products or services. And now,
sorry to interrupt, Professor Majdi. It is just 2 minutes to go, huh? For
okay. To sum up, when we need to understand what sort of strategies that we should be applying, again, we need to identify what sort of vision, what sort of mission statement, the corporate level strategies, understand the dimensions of the organization, the structure of the organization, and then we need to understand that in the organic organization, it works in a very dynamic environment, changing environment. It will always work, but under the mechanistic, it is highly unlikely that most organization will be able to become proactive and try to work in a dynamic environment. So the difference is you have rigid design and you have a very lenient design. The lenient design is the organic and the rigid design is the mechanistic. And from these two different designs, we will be able to determine how to move ahead with our strategies and our organic strategies, the ones that I couldn't cover right now because I needed some more time. And this is what I initially asked for, extra time. Thank you. And I will stop here because the rest will be, of course, repetitive of whatever I was planning to talk about. Anyways, thank you. If you have any questions, I'm willing to answer them now or whenever it is feasible. Thank you. I can't hear you.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes, we can.
Sorry, Professor Majdi, we have to interrupt you too because we have some time constraint. We have to finish it by 20 minutes. I think you can understand. So the question and answer session, we will take it at last when all the presentation will be over. So our second keynote speaker, Mr. A.D. Hu from Universiti Sains, Malaysia. So he's a former senior banker with 26 years of experience in the financial sector. He currently provides consultancy services to business, mainly in the financial related areas. He is involved in training and writing books and publications. He is pursuing his PhD study with USM on succession planning for the family business. He is also an active member of the various agencies, namely UNESCAP, SME Corp, and MPC. Mr. Eddie Hu, the time is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Bakshi, and good morning to everyone. Yeah. First of all, allow me to thank the organizer, AIBPM, for extending me the opportunity to share my thoughts on financial management. Okay, let me first share my slides here.